Hey traders, Rick here with Hit and Run Candlesticks. How are you? It's about 5:40 East Coast time. Thought I'd get this video out for you. Talk a little bit about some of the action in today, if you want to call it action. The SPY ended up with a nice little bearish engulf here. And we closed right at or just below the T-line here. Overall, if you take a look at this, we're kind of floating sideways. I'm not crazy bearish yet, although we did buy some SPY puts today, just because bearish engulf will lend to a lower low usually. We need to break below, and I'm using this as a trend line. Basically, I'm using these green dots here, the Trendicator. If we get below those and that dot turns red, then we'll look at being short, providing we stay below that line there. And we'll look to short toward that 50-period moving average here. So we did. We bought some SPY puts today when we get here, just the June 430s. And we'll just kind of see what happens with that. The diamonds today, we ended up with a little shooting star, so that pretty much is forecasting a little bit of a pullback in the diamonds here. And good support maybe is around 342. Not that we're even going to get there. Actually make that 341. We might or might not get there. We need to see the follow through on this, and well, basically that continued follow through. That's very, very important that we see that if we're going to be like majorly short here. Take a look at VIX. We did show a little bit of fear coming in today. Candle looked pretty good, pretty steady all day long. It just climbed right up here, stopped right about the 50-period moving average. And I've got had this trend line on here for a few days. We start moving, above this area here, then that's going to cause a little fear in this market, and that could push the market down further. So we're going to keep our eye on this a little bit. I do have some charts that we'll take a look at. Whoops, first we better go look at the Qs, hadn't we? Qs stopped about the 50-period moving average, but just because it stopped there doesn't mean it's going to stop there. I actually see it coming down into the 322, 320 area. And FNGU, not so good. Let's see if we can't come down and retest these areas here. And if we break down and just start heading down, well, there certainly is room to run lower, actually quite a bit lower. So we'll have to keep our eyes on that. Stay on your toes. Stay on your toes. Be careful with those longs right now. And I mean, like I said just a little earlier, I'm not 100% ready to be completely bearish on the market just yet. We break down, we show that follow through, then we'll get that way. What I'd like to see is follow through to the downside, a rally up, and failure here, and that would pretty much cinch the 50-period moving average. So we'll, like I say, we'll keep our eyes on it. We'll keep you posted there. Okay, few charts that I have here, just a few. We'll start with TZA. TZA is moving up, so if you're bearish IWM, TZA might be one to look at. I did buy some calls on TZA here, and they popped up. I bought them right before the close, and it popped up here right at the close. So good and green on that. Actually ended up today with 4.5% profit, buying it late this afternoon. Another one is this RWM. If someone's a little concerned with the TZA, RWM might be a little safer play. Looks like the same chart. Looks bullish to me. Looks like it's going higher. So if IWM, there we go. You can see the bearishness in IWM. We just caving in here. If we see that bearishness continue here, then those inverse ETFs are going to pop up a little bit. A lot of times I like to trade those because they're a whole lot less money than 220 bucks up here. SDS is another one. If somebody's looking to say short the SPY, and you can't short the SPY, SDS might be one to look at to go long. We did close right at or slightly above the T-line. I would sure like to see it move above the Trendicator and have those red dots turn green, and that could be a path, profit potential path up to that 50-period moving average. General Mills, if you're looking for something a little defensive, I think General Mills closed quite well today and maybe pointing to a little bit of a higher move. There's a bit here it needs to get through right here, but once we get through, then we have highs over here about 71. So we're going to keep our eyes on General Mills as a possible trade. Tyson actually looked pretty good for the long side. We gapped down to the 50-period moving average and then popped up here, putting in a belt hold. So what we need to see here is follow through, and that's where I would like to trade above that line right there. It could wobble around down here before it moves up, but if it does start to move up and set up for us, we might look for a trade up here on Tyson above 78.80. Okay, so just a little recap on the SPY here. If we do see that failure below the trend line, then we're going to look for something a little lower. We'll watch in the morning if there's a gap down. If we start to trade back up and it looks like we're going to turn the corner, then I'll definitely get out of those puts. If it looks like we're going to hold and trade to the downside, then I will look to hang on to those. So we'll see. We'll see. The important thing is if you're unsure, if you're just not feeling a lot one way or the other, it's always best to have a little cash, maybe go to cash a little bit, and let it set up for us, whether it's long or whether it's short. All right, I want to thank everybody. I sure appreciate it. We'll see you all in the trading room tomorrow, okay? Take care and have a great evening.